All right, we're live. So, welcome to another episode of the LogiCast. My name is BlankaKong. I'm joined by Mr. Esoteric Skills, Gunner Eos, and How to Wolf. Today's topic is going to be superhero movies. Are we tired of them yet? Are there too many of them? Why is there more? Do we need more? Do we want more? Should they be better? Should they be gone? All those questions will be answered in today's episode. So, I would kick things off, but I'm going to pass it to How to Wolf. I want to hear what you have to say about superhero movies and what's your stance on them in general, and also like on how mainstream they are and how just accessible they are now. What's your thoughts on that, man?
At first, when I was younger, watching superhero movies, like Blade, um, it was exciting to see because these are cartoon characters or comic book characters come to life. You know, Using Blade as an example, Wesley Snipes, I think, was an amazing cast for that character.
Agreed.
Um, and I thought they were awesome, and they weren't done often enough to where I'm now over them. To me, comic book movies, at least on Marvel, DC, and Marvel's Disney, Marvel, and is it died with Spider Man. Spider Man's it for me. No Way Home, and do I care to see what Marvel is coming out with now with the newer movies? No, not really. Do I know what they are or some of them are? Yes, I do. But I'm not hyped about any of them. I'm not, I don't really care anymore because now it's just so done so often. DC, on the other hand, or Warner Brothers or whoever is responsible for the
You're right,
Justice League
Warner
movies,
Brothers.
right?
Yeah.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Ha!
Um, they just can't get it right. They are too concerned in meeting the standards of small groups of people. Um, so I've given up all hopes with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash movies. I know there is a Shazam movie coming out, and not a Shazam movie. Yeah, there's Shazam 2 coming out, which Shazam itself wasn't a bad movie. And then I know The Rock, Dwayne Johnson is actually getting his own Black Adam movie.
Yeah.
Um, that's nice and all, but at this point, it's like your average action movie that used to come out, and it's like it's all the same in the end because of how overly done these superhero movies are. So to to me, it's just like there's no real excitement anymore because now it's just a part of the norm. Like maybe 3 or 4 superhero movies come out every year. So it's I'm over it. I'm over it. That's it. That's just how I feel.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Wolf. I'm kind of over it too. I do remember a time when I was super excited for a superhero movie. Well, to be fair, I was a lot younger. Um, so like when Blade came out, right? Because you mentioned Blade. When Blade came out, I was like 12, maybe something like that, 11. And that's around the. I think Spider-Man shortly came after Blade. I think they came out maybe a year after or something like that. And I remember being super excited because it's like, oh man, comic book heroes, and it's cool to see it on the big screen and to see it like in live action. It was awesome, right? And I still can watch those movies to this day. I think they still hold up, and I think most of the superhero movies hold up as far as like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is concerned, and most of the Batman films, not all, most. Um, but I think it's not so much that they're worse per se. I think they're just as good as they would have been before, maybe. I just think that they come out way too often, and the novelty has worn off, and there's just too much of it now. Now we're getting a superhero movie every 3 months, and that's once a quarter. So it's like now it feels like a product that's being forced down my throat and pushed in my face, and I don't like that. And it again, it just the novelty of it has worn off for me. So I could still watch superhero movies. I don't typically do though anymore because it's just I'm kind of over it, like you said. So, Mr. Esoteric or Gunner, what are your thoughts?
Um,
Um,
yeah, go because I'm there's a high probability I'll rant, so I'll
yeah,
let you go.
I think your take is gonna be the spicier of the two of us.
I'll
So
keep it PG, or I'll keep it good. But
hey,
I'll,
hey, your name's gonna go guns blazing if you
hey
have
man,
to.
yeah.
Um, I for me, I'm a bit conflicted. Because as as BlankaKong and I guess I believe Wolf kind of like alluded to, like we all grew up on this thing. You said you were about 11. Yeah, Blade came out in 98 if I'm not mistaken. So we were 10 years old. And one of the things that I've always dreamed about with like the things that I've liked, which at that time not many people were into, i.e. games, comics, etc., nerd culture. I've always wanted it to be brought on a more broader media, in terms of like seeing comic book characters in the movies, seeing them, transition from comic books to cartoons, to actual movies. And it seems like my dream now is biting me in the ass. Because I feel like in this day and age, with the current movies that are being released, yes, the positive is that a lot of new characters are being introduced. Um, and like they're getting their shine. A lot of characters that mainstream people would have never known about unless they picked up a book and read. I think it's biting us in the ass because they're portraying them in a way that the people who don't read the comics or who don't understand the lore, they're kind of like dumbing them down or changing them to appease the majority of audiences. And that kind of bugs the shit out of me, because now I'm sure most of the panelists or all the panelists here can attest to, we've been the guys that people like, oh, you reading that goofy shit, you playing that goofy shit. Now they think they're know-it-alls. They think that they know everything about comics because they watched the fucking movie. Um, I know I kind of like went off on a tangent, but I'm gonna, kind of bring it back around. I feel the point that I'm trying to make is that I feel like with these current comic book movies, the amount that they're producing at such a short span of time, I feel like they're no longer for us. We're no longer the audience. So it kind of, I kind of sort of phased out from being overly enthused about them. Like I just recently watched Thor: Love and Thunder. Um, it's an okay film. It wasn't the best Marvel movie. It definitely wasn't no Captain America Winter Soldier, which I feel was by far one of the best
That is
Marvel.
one of the best ones.
Yeah, because you could have. It basically. I say that because it appeased the fans who know Captain America's lore, and people who didn't know much about Captain America on the outside looking in could just watch it as a simple spy flick. I'm pretty sure uh we've all said that unanimously before. Um but I'm just gonna say it again. Um yeah, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that I agree they're way too saturated, they're way too done. I feel like it went from people who were really enthusiastic about making these films to people who are just looking for a cash grab. Um they're looking for the next hero that they can introduce to make more money, because the mass majority that see these films are not people who are privy to them, and they kind of like sprinkle familiar faces within those movies. Um, at least that's what I say for Marvel. When it comes to DC, uh, again, to Wolf's point, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Arguably, they have so much material that they can utilize to make phenomenal films if they just were patient, actually, read the source material and like really gave a shit about these heroes and villains. But based upon what they're producing, it seems like they don't. Um, and yeah, I just it's again, I'm kind of conflicted because I do love that the things that we enjoyed are shining and getting the finances put into them as they should, because we acknowledge them as gems growing up. But now it's like these things are not made for us anymore, and it kind of, as Kong said, I kind of lost my luster when it comes to them. So that's pretty much my take on it. They're going to continue making it more. I am going to, try to watch them objectively, just to see what they do with the characters. But when it comes to being enthusiastic about it and like the hype that I used to have when attending these films, I don't think it's going to come back, you know. But yeah.
All right, gotta let's
Okay,
hear it.
so so j- just gentlemen, kind of throw throw a shout out if I'm gone too far off the rails and fell into the chasm. So
Let's hear
I
it.
okay, so I think Esoteric was the only one who kind of had a sorta kinda dissenting opinion on the matter. I think we are past the point of stopping. As the meme says, it is time to stop. These movies have gone so far that you don't even have to be like a Hollywood quote unquote insider to see that these movies no longer had a plan. And it's painfully evident with what Marvel's doing, and DC has been Warner Brothers has been a joke with the DC movies for pretty much their inception. But I'm gonna kind of like do the Marvel side and then a little bit of the DC side. So Marvel, back when the Marvel movies and first started coming out, when we had Iron Man and Thor and Hulk, Captain America, right? There was a plan. They were setting the stage for something grand at the end. So these superheroes, they got their movies. Some of them were the first time ever in live action. Like Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk arguably had his movies beforehand and television shows, but you know, this was like the new Hulk for a new breed of Marvel films. But you could tell there was a plan. All these movies fleshed out these characters, and they dropped little breadcrumbs to the overarching story. And as the movies progressed, as sequels came out, you got a little bit more breadcrumbs here and there to kind of review to you the overarching plot. And then all of that, all these movies culminated in um, you know, the Infinity War and Endgame, right? The big Thanos was revealed to be the big bad guy. They even had like, oh my god, they lost. I can't believe these heroes would lose. Some of them are dead, some of them are poofed. And that was the culmination. It was Infinity War and Endgame. After that, I think Disney, especially since now they own Marvel, kind of lost the plot. They saw the dollars they were raking in. They saw the merchandise, the money from the merchandise they were making. They saw the money from the amusement park rides they were generating, and they were like, "We want to keep this train going. It can't end. Can't end." So now you see, and a lot of the actors that we know have left their roles. Right? Captain America's, you know, Chris Evans is not doing him anymore. Robert Downey's not doing Iron Man anymore. And because these actors, they're real people and they want to move on to other roles. They don't want to be stuck in Iron Man for the rest of their career, which I can't fault them for that. But now with this new generation, oh my god, they're just so it's just so bland. It's cookie cutter by the numbers, same old, same old. It gets to the point where you can predict the fucking plot. You can tell what's going to happen. There are no stakes because you can say, "Oh, but Gunnar, what are you talking about? There are stakes. Iron Man died at the end. That was the big dramatic, sacrifice, and technically Captain America died in a different kind of way." But no, it doesn't matter because they introduced the metaverse. They introduced the multiverse. Sorry, that's a whole nother thing. The multiverse. Like, so now okay, so we can't get Chris Evans to do Captain America anymore. That's fine. We'll just pull an alternate Captain America from Earth 646. We'll pull an alternate Iron Man. We'll pull an alternate Thor, and you can see it shaping up, right? Hulk is not going to be Hulk anymore. It's going to be She-Hulk. Captain America is going to be Falcon. Iron Man is going to be Ironheart. Thor, you could correct me because I refuse. I just have no interest in seeing it. I'm not sure how the latest Thor movie ended, but I know they had the Mighty Thor, which was a female. So
Yeah, just to let you know, Gunner, she's not gonna continue. From the way the movie, uh, she's not. I don't think they're gonna push her forward. She's probably gonna make an appearance as her regular self, but she's not gonna. I don't think she's going to be Mighty Thor. Spoiler alert! I should have said that before for people who are tuning in. But not so much a spoiler alert because I didn't explain what happened in the movie. So yeah.
okay, because I kind of know what happens like in her comic book lore. So I was figured, okay, well, if they're keeping the same thing, unless they change it, she shouldn't be around anymore, or at least in the mainstream line. So okay, also Thor might stick around, but we have a new Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk. We have a new Black Widow. We have a new Hawkeye. Like, all these people just got replaced by either a gender bent version of themselves or just an alternate self from a different timeline. So there's all the stakes that they established in Endgame and Infinity War don't matter because we can just pluck them from somewhere else and put him there. We can always have a Captain America. We can change his skin color, we can change his nationality, change the language he speaks, but it doesn't matter. We have someone to fill the Captain America role. And so now there seems like there's no plan with these new movies, and now it's gotten worse because for those who don't know, Disney, like everybody and their mother nowadays, have started their own streaming service. So now you have Disney Plus. And what do they do with Disney Plus? They put television shows, Marvel television shows on Disney Plus. And what did they do? They made them canon. So now, not only do you have to go and spend $13 plus to watch a Marvel movie, you now have to spend $10 a month to watch a Marvel show. Prime example, the new Doctor Strange movie. If you never saw WandaVision, and then came to Doctor Strange, you're gonna have no fucking clue why Wanda has the powers that she has or what her motivations are because you had to watch all of that in the television show. So now it's even worse. Now it's like you got to keep up with a television show, you got to keep up with a movie. Before, with Endgame and Infinity War, all you have to do is watch the movies. Oh, there's a new Captain America movie. Okay, let me watch that. There's a new Thor movie. Let me watch that. Now it's just television show and movie. They have no plan. These characters are B-list characters that nobody cares about. Like, I'm gonna be real with everybody listening and watching. These Marvel movies are not made for comic book fans. They're just not. They're made for normies. When it comes to Marvel, I'm one of the normies. I didn't read a lot of Marvel. I don't know a lot of Marvel. So what I see in the movie is what I know. But but even then, people know Captain America. They know Iron Man. They know Thor. They don't care about She-Hulk. They don't care about Ironheart. They don't care about um the mighty Thor. These are for comic book people. Normies don't give a shit. But they have nothing else to work with. So we're gonna make it work. And not to mention all the messages and the agenda. I don't want to get too deep into that, but that soured my view on those movies as a whole. So it's just like, I don't want to give you my money It's time to stop. We've hit the same point that we hit with Walking Dead when zombies hit their saturation point, and it's just like I was over Walking Dead. I'm over these Marvel movies now. And DC, I like watching like a train wreck. To me, DC is a car accident with the DC movie lineup is like a car accident with mangled bodies. I know I shouldn't look at it, and it makes me disappointed, but it's just like, wow, that's fucking interesting. Because I'm not sure if you guys know, but I didn't even know there was a Batwoman. Oh, not Batwoman. That's
Oh,
that's a
you
whole
talking
other thing.
about Batgirl that got
Bat,
discontinued?
Batgirl, bro, $70 million. They spent 70 million with an $1 million on this movie and fucking shelved it.
Yep.
So the movie's done. It's practically done. It needs the finishing touches and shit, but it's practically done. And they said it was so, and I quote, so damaging to the brand that they didn't want to risk it coming out to the general public. It won't even be on HBO Max. It won't even go straight to streaming. It is done. They are putting that shit in a vault and locking it up somewhere until someone puts it on a USB and dumps that shit on the internet. But like DC has no fucking clue what they're doing. Their actors are going rogue. Literally, we got fucking Ezra Miller doing some wonky shit, and he's supposed to be the Flash, and he has a movie coming out next month. And it's just like, I don't know what's going on with DC, but I don't know how you fuck up Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I don't know how you fuck that up, but they found a way to fuck it up. We got two Batmen now. Ben Affleck left Batman, but now there's rumors he's coming back as Batman. It's like, make up your fucking mind. I get this movie is for normies, but even normies want some level of consistency in their film. So if I'm watching Ben Affleck as Batman, and then I'm watching fucking Twilight Man as Batman, and then all of a sudden Ben Affleck is Batman again? It's like, the fuck? There's 12 different Jokers. It's like, what are we even doing here? Well, let me get off the rant. Let me get off the soapbox.
Oh my god.
TLDR, because I keep up with this way more than I should for a guy who quote unquote doesn't care. I can't look away. I have to look at this. But TLDR, it's time to stop. Nobody gives a shit. Even the normies, the mainstream folks, they're going, oh, there's another Marvel movie coming out. What is this, the 12th one? But Disney's going to keep doing it because the world's a big place. And if they can get $1 billion, they might not get $1 billion from me. They might not get $13 from me or Kong or Esoteric or Wolf or anybody in our circle. World's a big place. And if they get their billions, they're going to call that a success, and they're going to keep the train going. So, done. Stop. They need to stop. I'm done.
So
I'll leave it to anybody else that wants to add something.
I'll squeeze in here and just say I don't think you said anything wrong there, but I have the luxury of being able to just walk away and not think about it. I know for you it's harder to like just remove yourself from watching that stuff, but for me it's really easy. I just go, I'm over it, and I just walk away, and I don't think about it anymore. The last excuse me, the last Marvel movie I saw, scratch that. The last superhero movie I saw was Batman, which was fine. I didn't pay for it, so it was fine.
That makes it extra fine.
The last superhero movie that I paid for and saw in theaters was the last Spider-Man film, which I thought was worth it. And to me, that's kind of like Wolf said earlier. That's kind of where it ends for me. Like, and it was perfect because it was like Tobey Maguire came back and
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. See, I forgot his name for a second. Andrew Garfield. He's the forgotten Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield came back or whatever, and that was like the perfect like bow for like my superhero movie watching. As far as like the new stuff is concerned, it's like, all right, this is kind of where this is the perfect way to end it. Like I'm kind of done with being such a day one supporter of this medium, of this content. Will I watch Marvel movies in the future? Probably, but I'm not gonna. I don't see myself going to theaters anymore to watch them. I don't see myself, you know, signing up for a subscription to access this content specifically. Like, I don't see myself doing that. I'm just, like I said in the beginning, I'm kind of just over it. It's just too much of it. It's not as interesting. The novelty is lost. um I can argue that the content, the quality has also gone down. Like, the movies have gotten progressively less interesting, and just less intriguing. Some of them do have bad writing. I'm not gonna lie, and now it's like it's asking too much of me. Like, now I gotta watch TV shows like Gunnar had mentioned, and
Yeah.
and I'll throw it out there. I haven't watched any, and when I say any, I mean any. I haven't seen The Punisher. I haven't seen Daredevil. I haven't seen The Flash. I haven't seen Arrow. I haven't seen the last superhero TV show that I watched was Smallville. Just to give you, okay, I don't watch TV shows like that, so I'm damn sure not gonna watch any new stuff because I'm just not into it, dude. Like, I'm just kind of over it. So that's where it ends for me. Now, if you're into it, like anybody listening is into it, and they don't quite understand why I hold this opinion, I think it's partially because how old we are. Like, we're in our mid 30s, and we kind of grew up during this kind of like superhero movie renaissance. We were there for the whole thing. I can say that I saw Blade in theaters. I saw the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, in theaters. We saw the first Iron Man in theaters launch weekend, right? Like, we were there for the fucking beginning, and we went for the ride. And so, I kind of, I guess I could say I've grown out of it. Like, it's like, okay, that's it, no more. I'm done. I've had my fill. But for those who are younger, who maybe are 10 years younger, who maybe weren't even alive when the first Iron Man film came out in theaters, and they're getting into into this content, for them, they don't have the same perspective that I would have, right? Because they're younger, and so this is new to them. And so, what's the Eternals, right? That was like one of the last Marvel movies, right? The Eternals, to somebody out there, might be what Iron Man was to me, or to some of us, which is a crazy concept, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't wrap my head around it, but I can acknowledge that that's possible.
Yeah.
I can't agree, but whatever. Like, that's
yeah, to
your,
each his own.
to each his own, exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you got to say, Esoteric?
I can definitely see that. Based upon the timeline, it's not for us to like agree or disagree with. You know, this happens quite frequent. Like, there are things that we grew up on, that we hold in high esteem, that the new generation is like, what the hell is this, or whatever. Same thing with our parents and people who are older than us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure each of us have heard the back in my day, this is how shit was done. You know what I'm saying? So, and with my parents' generation, they were watching the Batman with the eyebrows. They were watching Adam West. They were watching the Incredible Hulk, where I've watched him transition from Banner to like Hulk. It looks so freaking weird to me.
Lou
Um,
Ferrigno. Lou
Yeah,
yeah,
Lou
Ferrigno's Hulk.
Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like just seeing that, I appreciated what it delivered, because during that time, I feel like we're the perfect generation that can appreciate, you know, um, the old school things, as well as like the new technology that brings us what we have today. So I definitely appreciate all of that, especially Adam West Batman. Um, but yeah, back in, they'll say things like, this is how stuff is done. I mean, I feel like almost every single media is like that. It's not just for movies. It's also with art. It's also with music. It's also with just certain routines. You look at art nowadays. Everything is all like fluff. You know what I'm saying? Back then, all we had was a pencil and paper. Now with Photoshop and everything, like anybody can pretty much become an artist. Um, so I can definitely see um that somebody would say Eternals is their start to superhero stuff. Whereas us, we can't fathom it because we've had things that, in my opinion, were way better. Um, but yeah, it's it's a double-edged sword, man, because I mean, I can't speak for you guys, but for myself, growing up, I've always wanted to see my heroes and comic book stuff, things that I enjoyed on the big screen. They had a couple of failures, Mario the movie that was terrible as shit. Um, but they had quite a few successes, and I didn't expect it to blow up to the point where it went from people in like people actually giving a shit about the content that they're creating to it becoming a cash grab. Um, although I'm not gonna lie, the TV shows I do enjoy. Like I feel like Daredevil and Punisher are definitely good shows to watch. WandaVision was great. So was the other ones that came on Disney Plus. However, I do understand on the flip side that it's too big of a commitment, you know. I feel like you guys could just spend y'all time putting that into, comic books again. You know what I'm saying? Or just incorporating it in the movie overall, and that would be your
Well,
content
that
now. But
that wouldn't work. That's unreal. That's an unrealistic recommendation or an unrealistic option because the time that we live in now, people don't consume entertainment and information the same way. So comic books were big because that's how people consume entertainment and information back then. Comic books when comic books were out, there wasn't TVs weren't even a thing, right? Like that's how people got going to movies was like a fucking uber luxury, right? Like it
Yeah.
was just a different time. And now everything is about just immediate consumption. Gimme more. Like there's no like, oh, there's a season of whatever show coming out. Let's come back next week for the next episode. That doesn't happen. People binge an
Yeah.
entire season in a day or two,
Yeah.
which
Now
is
it's
crazy.
a show comes out and they're already talking about, yeah, we're greenlit season 3. I'm like, bro, season 1, episode 1 just started.
oh yeah, I completely understand that. I'm more so speaking from, again, someone who grew up within the comic book culture. I'm not saying that it'll work effectively, but I would have loved for them to incorporate, finances into, more comics as opposed to just, focusing on every movie having their own spin-off TV show. Like that would be a little bit ridiculous. I mean, I think they're gonna
Again,
go
the
for that in the
return on
future.
investment in doing a comic book, like taking the funding from a potential TV show to do a comic book, as a somebody who's in sales and in business, like that just doesn't make sense. Like that's a bad investment. So they would never do something like that. I don't
No,
think.
I know that. I know that. Like business wise, it wouldn't work. I'm just saying from, someone who would want more of that content, I would like for it to happen. I know it's not going to ever
Yeah,
happen.
I can respect
Um,
that. I can
you
respect that.
know.
That's something you would want, but it's just not. I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a realist too. I know it's absolutely not going to happen. I mean, in this day and age, it's all about results, and by results, it's money. So when it comes to doing things the most effective way with the cheapest investment, that's what they're gonna go for. That's all it is.
Oh, and also, I I feel this way, and you guys can chime in on this. I think the Marvel style movies have poisoned, and yeah, I mean that, poisoned the movie industry for at least a generation to come.
I
Because
I see what you're saying going for.
yeah,
Like,
because
oh,
Marvel, they started this whole fucking cinematic universe garbage where everything's an expansive world. Everything branches into everything else. We don't have to answer a question in this movie because we'll answer it 3 movies from now. And so many other movies have copied that style because I mean, you look at the numbers and you go, how much did Infinity War make? How much just did an Endgame make? How much did all the movies leading up to Infinity War and Endgame make? Oh, fuck that. We're not just going to release a movie with a beginning, middle, and end. No, we want a cinematic universe. So I can't tell you how many movies I've seen set themselves up for a cinematic universe so that the movie ends and it's just so fucking open-ended, plot threads, plot holes galore, because the suits and the fucking movie execs are rubbing their hands together going, oh boy, we're gonna have a fucking cinematic universe for King Arthur. I shit you not, there was a King Arthur movie that came out and they set it up as a fucking 10 movie cinematic universe. The movie flops and it dies, and I blame Marvel for that. I blame Marvel and Disney for that. And we won't see that end for at least like another generation.
I mean, in that regard, you definitely can blame them for being the cause of that, but I also blame the creators of the other movies for having lack of creativity. I mean, yes, you're looking at the numbers and saying, yes, Marvel has done this. This is the game plan that they went with, and it got them buku dollars. But sometimes you gotta follow, your own way and do your own shit. I mean, we can't fully, in my opinion, we can't fully blame them for something that they did that worked well for them, and people decide to emulate that, or
Yeah, but when your audience is kind of, for lack of a better word, trained to expect everything to be a cinematic universe, all of a sudden your movie quote unquote does unwell or bombs because you, God forbid, had a cohesive, self-contained storyline in one movie. They go, oh, what? There's no sequel? There's no, there's no. I can't tell you how many people for regular movies stick around after the credits because they've been trained to expect a post-credit scene.
Yeah, that's true.
Even in horror movies, like a one-off horror movie, they're like, I see people lingering because they're thinking there's a post-credit scene for Cabin in the Woods 2, Electric Boogaloo, and it's like, bro, not every movie is like that, but
yeah.
people have been conditioned, and I'll do it. I'll be that guy. I blame Marvel.
I mean, even before Marvel, there were some movies that did the ending credit things, but yeah, Marvel did make it potent. But I mean, it's something that worked for them. I can't say that it's their fault for other people imitating it. I mean, so the last movie I saw that did it outside of Marvel Universe was Sonic. You know, I really can't think of anything at this moment right now, because I haven't been going to the movies like that. And the movies that I have watched were Marvel movies. Um, but yeah, the last one I can recall is Sonic that did stuff after
You're
the
a part
credits.
of the problem, Esoteric.
Like,
Hey,
there's a movie I watched recently, and it's not the greatest movie. It's not fucking Schindler's List or something like that, but it's kind of a brain dead, kind of a good brain dead movie. Battle for L.A. I'm not sure if any of you heard that
Nope.
or have seen that
but
movie.
never heard of it, but never watched it.
All right, I'm not gonna get into it, but it's an alien movie, pretty much. So
Hmm.
pretty much the way the movie ends is they beat the aliens and they go back to retake LA. And it's left open ended on purpose. There was never a sequel set up. They didn't set up a cinematic version like Battle for New York, Battle for Staten Island. No, they didn't do all that. It was just an open ended ending. So you go, oh man, they this is just the beginning of an alien invasion. I wonder, did the humans win? Did the aliens bust out some new weapon? Like, you don't know that.
Yeah.
You have, God forbid, you have to use your imagination and fill in the blanks for yourself. Independence Day was like that. We all of us here know Independence Day. They left it open ended. It's like, oh, the humans beat the aliens, but is that all? Then we get a garbage ass fucking sequel that sucks ass and just tarnishes the name of a good classic cheesy movie. So, like, just that bothers me, man, because there are so many great movies. I live in the past. I'm not really into this fucking this new age shit. No, I'm not into that. Like, I live in a time where movies just ended. They had a beginning, middle, and an end. Even the Star Wars movies, trilogies. The first movie had a beginning and the end. No one knew there was going to be a Return of the Jedi. No one knew there was going to be Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi. Nobody knew. It was like, man, this New Hope movie, this Star Wars shit, that was a pretty good movie. And then you go, oh shit, they're making a sequel? What? But like, that's what I wish movies went back to. Just like, it's a great movie, it stands on its own, and if you want to make a sequel, cool. But now, cinematic universes, open-ended plot lines, it's even fucking leaked its way into video games. It's just like,
Yeah, it did.
I'm gonna blame.
Just like I said to Esoteric, that expectation is unrealistic. It's not going to happen. We are now in a reality where we need content now, and we want it fast, and we want it yesterday. Like it's like, and we will pay for it. We as in not us specifically, but just people in general.
General public,
and
yeah.
and these companies see the money that comes in, and they go, okay, and I don't give a shit what we put out, as long as we hit our financial goals and turn a profit and we have a healthy bottom line. I don't give a fuck what we do, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what they care about, right? They care about making money.
Oh yeah.
And giving us what we want, no matter what that is, good, bad, or something in between. So like, it's not gonna happen. Like you mentioned, movies just kind of having an ending and having an open-ended ending, and you kind of like not really too sure what that means, and you using your imagination. Like one of my favorite movies, The Thing, had that. Like you don't
Yep.
know. Like that movie was from the 80s, bro. Like you don't know what happened. Like there's speculation, but you don't know what happened. And I've had hours long conversations with people about what could have happened, what we think happened, what I thought happened, what he thought happened. Like, and it was great, because great conversation, and we still don't know, right? And that's fine. Like that's great. That only makes it great. But that's not how it is now. Everybody needs to know everything. Everybody wants the next thing now. Like, I don't know, man. Like you mentioned, like fucking season 3 of whatever show comes out, you finish it. All season 4 is ready. It's like, what the fuck? I just finished.
Yeah.
Like that's how things operate now, and that's not going to change, unfortunately, because of just the way people consume content and their expectations, and where their money goes. Their money goes to pumping out shows, no matter how bad or good the fucking writing is. That's where they're gonna go. They're gonna put the money wherever the eyeballs go, which makes sense as a business. It makes sense. It just sucks for people like us who want more quality content.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And
Yeah.
to your point, what really reflected that was the comparison to when a movie came out back in the days, and then the DVD came out way later. Nowadays, the DVD or the Blu-ray comes out like literally maybe weeks later. Before, we used to wait months for the DVD of certain movies, certain films, and stuff like that. And it's crazy.
Sometimes it will take almost a year for the
Yeah.
for the VHS tape or the DVD to launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's just like you log into Disney Plus, Netflix, whatever, and it's just like, oh man, they got the season of fucking Superhero 365. Cool. Let me watch that. It's like, but I mean, we saw what happened with zombies. Like zombies hit a saturation. Like zombies, when Walking Dead dropped, oh my god, there were zombie video games, zombie movies, spin-offs, the works, and now it's just like, oh god, Walking Dead's still going. The zombies are still here. I'm bored. Let me get something else.
With zombies, that's always been a thing with those movies. Like there was a saturation of zombies in the early 90s and late 80s too, like Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Living Dead. Like these movies, like there's a lot of zombie movies. So there's like clusters of zombie movies in certain periods of time that I feel would saturate the market. I think just recently now, with the internet and just having access to all this stuff, it's more noticeable because it's right there, right? It's at arm's reach in our phone. We have access to all this content, and so it feels more saturated than
usual.
When in reality, if you look back, it's like the zombie genre has always been kind of like oversaturated. In my opinion.
Typically it was zombie genre and vampire genre. Like those shits were very, very saturated. You had Interview with the Vampire. You had Vampire in Brooklyn. You had what was it? Dawn of the Dead? Was it? Was that
No, it was a zombie movie.
That's a zombie movie. Okay. Shit, I can't remember it. But they had quite a few vampire movies that I recall in the 90s.
I can't speak for vampire movies like that because I don't. I mean, Buffy the Vampire Slayer comes to mind, but whatever. I can't speak to that too much because it's not really my thing. I like zombies more as a enemy type, but that I mean I don't know, man. We just sound like a bunch of old guys who are complaining about the present, and we want things to go back to the way they were, and that's just not gonna happen. This is why I just walk away from if once I'm tired of something, I go, I'm done, and I'll just walk away and I'll forget about it. Like, and it's healthier for me because I don't rage and I don't get upset. Like, oh, this isn't music. Like, I don't get like that because it's like I don't pay attention to it. Like, I learned who Cardi B was like a little while ago, and this woman has been making music for years. I didn't know who this fucking lady was. I didn't care because I don't listen to modern music. So you can't see me right now. I'm shrugging. Like it's like whatever, dude. Like I just focus on the shit that I like, and that's it, And
Yeah, I mean,
that's how
I
I
had to get
operate.
I had to get like that because the same shit happening with Marvel, they're doing with Star Wars. And I love Star Wars. Or I guess I should say I loved past tense Star Wars, but they're doing the same thing with Star Wars. There's a million Star Wars shows coming out. They're all on Disney Plus, and it's just like after a certain while, I had to just kind of like it's gonna sound cheesy. I had to kind of just let it go. Just kind of like, all right, man, you want to make a Star Wars show about Joe Schmo and his trials and tribulations? Fine, that's cool. I'll stick with my original trilogy right here. I have them on Blu-ray. Can watch them anytime I want. So have at it. And I've had to do that with a couple of franchises that I like. Star Wars being number one. Every time Netflix makes a fucking new live action adaptation of something I love, I'm like, oh boy, okay, you don't exist to me. We'll just stick with the original. So, you know, I've gotten like that. I've had to get like that, or I'll just lose my mind over something arguably frivolous. But I mean, it's just gotten too much. It's like my escape is no longer even a worthwhile escape. Because movies are supposed to be an escape, in my opinion. Like your job sucks. You're going through some rough times. I want to watch a movie so I can get lost in this world. And now with these new shows and movies, it's like a job. You have to like schedule out. Okay, I got to watch the Loki show because the new Loki movie's coming out, so I got to make sure I get all the references from the show. Okay, I had to watch WandaVision so I can know what's going on in Doctor Strange. Okay, She-Hulk's coming on to Disney Plus, so I got to watch that. And it's just like at that point, it's a job, and it's just like I'm not getting paid for it, so I'm not going to sign up for this job. So
Well,
I get what you're saying.
the payment is the entertainment, air quotes.
Right, right. Which for I think all of us here at least, it's just not there anymore. If it ever was there,
Yeah,
in
it's just
some
not there, and that's a perfect way to kind of like encapsulate my whole attitude toward this entire topic. It's not there anymore, bro. Like it's like when if you're in a relationship or whatever with a girl or a guy, or whatever, like, and the spark is just gone, and you're just looking at each other like, I think we're done. Like I think we've hit our climax. Like we're kind of over each other. Let's just end it. That's kind of my relationship with a lot of different media. Video games. A lot of not video games as a whole, but like certain genres, certain franchises. I've kind of severed my ties with uh, movies, superhero movies, certain music. Like I just go, yeah, it's over. Like it's not you, it's me, but it's you. So I'm out. And yeah, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
cut you off, man. I'm sorry if I did.
No, that was pretty much it. It's just, sad to see it happen. Again, for me, comic books didn't have that much of an impact on my life as growing up. I'm more of a DC guy, so I have more of a animated discussion about the DC movies as opposed to the Marvel. But it's just, yeah, it's just a product of the instant gratification. Give me what I want now, and I want all of it in one shot. Kind of culture that the world. I'm not even going to limit it to a country. The world's kind of found itself wrapped into now. So,
Yeah, it's like we're functioning under like Moore's law, where things just speed up and progress. I mean, of course, it goes into technology more so the definition, but I feel like just life in itself is progressing and going fast, like every 2 years. In this case, a lot faster than that. Um, but what I think it is for us is that I think we hit that peak, and I know I kind of spoke about this earlier. I think we hit that peak that our like parents or guardians or people who lived in a different era than us, we finally hit that peak that we were like, yeah, this ain't it. Back in our day, this is how things was ran. You call that music, you call that a good movie, you should watch this, you should see. I think we've hit that age
Mm-hmm.
cap where
no, you're
you know
definitely right. Yeah, I've realized what my parents and grandparents have talked about, like, oh my God, that's not music. This is music, or oh, the movies you guys watch are so blah blah blah. It's like I see it now, and it's like, oh, well, this is what it's like.
yeah, it's like, what the hell is this cash grab that you guys are doing? What, gotcha? We ain't do that back in our day. Gotcha games?
See,
What the hell is that?
and I have to challenge that. I have to challenge that. You know why?
No, we
Because
absolutely have, but
and I have to challenge that, and here's why. Because this relates to comic books, and we're talking about superhero movies. So, and you talked about how like you wish comic books would come back. If you think about it, the comic book business model was no different than DLC today, right? You got a little piece of
true.
content for a certain premium, and if you wanted the next piece or the next like the follow up to the story, you have to pay another $2 or $1.25 or whatever to get the next issue. So it's like it's at the end of the day, it's a business, guys, and like we have to acknowledge that and take off the rose colored glasses for a second and be like, hold on, like yeah, these were better times in my opinion, but how much is this is nostalgia and how much of it is, reality? And so I think that needs to be pointed out that the comic books weren't made out of the goodness of the hearts of the writers, and maybe in some cases, in most cases, they were, but like as far as the business is concerned, it was about maximizing profits and getting as much money out of that consumer base as possible while maintaining a certain level of integrity and like um, credibility with the content, the quality of the content. So we could question whether or not that integrity and like that want of making quality content exists today in today's landscape with the medium, with the content that we're getting today. We could question that, but like at the end of the day, it's about that bottom line. It's about, are we profitable? Did we turn a profit? Did we lose money? And that determines a lot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That is essentially the deciding factor as to whether or not certain product progresses or declines. You know,
Yeah.
I
So I think you romanticized the comic book era a little too hard because there's a lot of people out there who are sitting on hundreds of pounds of paper in the form of comic books and they don't know what to do with it.
well, I think some of that to some degree, yes, it can be portrayed as gotcha, but back in those days, it was really, really difficult, like the procedures in which to make a comic. So I can understand that. If for them to take that same business practice today, I would feel like, yeah, it's more pushed towards gotcha, because of like technology that helps things be produced faster. But back then, I can, I won't know whether it is actuality or or not. But I can say we can argue whether or not they
Well,
did that
my point
intentionally.
is, like in a comic, like in a certain arc of a certain story of a certain character, it was split between 20 to 50 issues or whatever, right? Like they could
Yeah,
have just made it one book and charged you $20 for it, but instead they didn't, and they made it a 20 book, a 20 book or 25 book or 20 or 50 book, issue, collection of comics, and they charged you whatever they charged you, right, per issue. So it's not like there was it was still a business. So like,
yeah.
let's not pretend like it was all for the the goodness of the of comic book readers and comic book fans. No, it was a business. Just like with trading cards, like that's a business. Like that's the idea is to get you to buy booster packs to activate those dopamine. To get that dopamine hit. Oh, I pulled the charge. All right, buy 6 more packs, idiot. Like, see what else you get. Like, that's still there. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's not over romanticize the past. The
No,
past
I get
isn't
that.
isn't as glamorous as we make it out to be. Even though I would go back in a heartbeat, but I still have enough like wherewithal to like kind of look at it and go, well, it wasn't perfect. There are some blemishes here and there.
Of course,
Anyway,
absolutely.
I just wanted to point that out. Sorry if I went on a little tangent there, and if I brought the mood down, but
Oh, no, you're fine.
that's just my take. Cool. So Esoteric, I think it's time to wrap it up. I'm gonna let you close it out. So take it away.
All right, guys. Well, as BlankaKong said, this concludes the today's topic. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe for more to follow. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Do you think that comic book movies has hit its peak? Do you think that they're continuously going to progress, not in a business format, but more so like within your interests? Let us know what what you guys think. Also, just to let you guys know, Blanca Kong and myself stream on Twitch. I stream under Logical Gamers TV. Blanca Kong streams under Blanca Kong. So be sure to follow us to hang out with us and play games. And also check out our social media. Damn, lost my. Our social media. What's the
Platforms.
word I'm looking for?
Stick
Platforms.
Presence.
counts.
Yes,
Presence.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Check out our social media platforms as well. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and TikTok. So again, whichever social media platforms associate with you guys, be sure to follow us. And also let us know what you would like for us to discuss in future podcasts. If it's within our purview, we'll definitely be more than likely to discuss it, and you'll get our points on it.
Yeah, so yeah, follow us on Twitch. Check out our Discord. I don't think you mentioned that. Check out our socials. All the links are going to be in the description down below. Subscribe. We do podcasts every week, so they publish at 12 p.m. on Wednesday. We also do 2-minute reviews. Leave a like and comment. Let us know what you think. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Next time.
Right. Take care.